Hello and welcome to Module 4. I hope that you've enjoyed your journey so far, but today this particular module is going to be a very important one. It's a very important one because it really is the one that you're going to be using most as you go through your journey through the Tanakh. And particularly as you use the Tanakh for both interpretation, for Bible studies, for sermons, etc. And the reason for that is because what we're going to do today is called the forms of writing. The forms of writing. Now, what I mean by that is that I'm sure whenever you've read a book, you've realized that the book has a particular slant, a particular way. So if you read a novel, what you're looking at is you're actually looking at a piece of fiction. So a piece of made-up writing. And obviously, when you're reading a piece of fiction, you're going to read it differently to when you read a science handbook. Now, a science handbook is trying to tell you some facts or some experiments that have happened or the results of some experiments. It doesn't say that the moon is made out of cream cheese. It says that the moon is made out of rock and so on. It tells you how it was created and so on. And so therefore, the way in which you would treat or understand or interpret a science handbook is very different to the way in which you would understand a piece of fiction writing, a novel or a narrative. They're different to each other. And therefore, you would use different rules to interpret one versus the other. Now, you need to understand that the Tanakh is filled with different kinds of writing, different ways in which people were expressing the relationship of the people to God. There's different kinds of writing. There's different ways in which people expressed that relationship. And because there's different ways in which it was expressed, we need to understand what kind of writing we're reading. So when you're reading the book of Psalms, or when you're reading John, or you're reading, in fact, that John's in the New Testament, but when you're reading Genesis, when you're reading Deuteronomy, what kind of writing is it? Because the kind of writing will make a change in the way in which you then interpret that writing, the way in which you interact with it, and the understanding and the meaning that you will draw from it. In this module, we're going to be looking at a number of different forms of writing. What I'm going to be trying to do is to uncover some of the things that we need to know about that form of writing. And then what we need to do is to say, well, how then do we interpret that writing? So if you're going to be preaching, or you're going to be teaching, or just reading for yourself a particular form of writing, how do you interpret it? Let's go and join this journey together.